We meet again, Mr. Lynch. We've virtually installed a revolving door for you in the studio. You've been coming in and out since June. The government are flatly denying this. They are flatly denying, explicitly denying, sticking their spoke into this particular wheel. They say there's absolutely a matter between you guys and the employers. Are they lying?
Yes, they are. And they have to carry out his instructions.
So you're accusing the government of a barefaced lie on this?
I am, yes.
And you're aiming that at the Transport Secretary?
And I'll be telling him that tomorrow morning when I meet him. He's responsible for industrial relations. That's his legal responsibility in this country.
You have said that you're not the Grinch who's stealing Christmas. Your issue is with the Transport Secretary, right, who you've just, on this programme, called a liar. I mean, good luck with that meeting tomorrow morning.
We meet again, Mr. Lynch. Richard Madeley going full Alan Partridge there, guys. This is their interview with Mick Lynch, which is doing the rounds on social media, but the actual full interview doesn't seem to be up anywhere. So once I finish talking, the full interview will follow. I apologise in advance for the quality. I don't have all the great equipment that people have to make everything look fancy, but you'll get the main message of it. Maybe they didn't want to put it up because it puts them in a bad light. Richard Madeley and SUSANNA REID, that is. I mean, I think Mick Lynch handled himself very well. He certainly is very good when it comes to handling the media, and he does say some very strong things. I have to be honest, from my perspective, you know, the inconvenience is quite big. And then on the other side, I think to myself, well, I did work for a corporate company once where I had to do overtime and was paid nothing for my overtime, and it dragged on. And I do remember thinking at that time, this is what unions are for. Unions are around to stop this kind of thing happening. But this seems to be lingering and going on for quite a while, and it's not just in this country, you know, because in America they're facing a very similar problem on their railway. So here's the full interview with Mick Lynch. No idea why they haven't put it up. I kind of thought they just put all their interviews up, but they haven't. And you can make of it what you will. But yeah, we'll meet again soon. Bye.
We meet again, Mr. Lynch. We've virtually installed a revolving door for you in the studio. You've been coming in and out since June. How much longer is this going to drag on for?
Well, I hope it can be terminated quickly for a resolution with the employers. But the problem at the moment is the Department of Transport and the Secretary of State are blocking the deal. We were in negotiations intensively after we suspended the last action. And I was told by the Rail Delivery Group, which is the coordinating group, that a deal would be put on the table on Monday.
This Monday gone?
This Monday this week. And with 55 minutes to go, they phoned me up and said, that meeting's cancelled, we don't want you at the meeting, and we're not going to make you an offer. We are not allowed to make an offer, and the only people that can veto that are the government.
The government are flatly denying this. They are flatly denying, explicitly denying, sticking their spoke into this particular wheel. They say there's absolutely a matter between you guys and the employers. Are they lying?
Yes, they are, because in the passenger service contracts, it's explicit, and you can look it up, that the Secretary of State is responsible for industrial relations, and he is responsible for their negotiating mandate. The chief person from the Rail Delivery Group, the chairman, said, I will make you an offer. He phoned me personally on Saturday morning, come to my office at 2 o'clock on Monday, I will make you an offer in writing. At 1 o'clock on that day, he said, they're not allowing me to make that offer. Now, people can believe that or not, but it's in those contracts which are in the public domain. He is directly responsible, and they have to carry out his instructions.
So you're accusing the government of a barefaced lie on this?
I am, yes.
And you're aiming that at the Transport Secretary?
And I'll be telling him that tomorrow morning when I meet him. He's responsible for industrial relations. That's his legal responsibility in this country. He directs those companies, and he's the only shareholder of the Network Rail.
What is the current deal?
Well, we haven't got an offer at all for the train operating companies. There's no offer in writing. They've put nothing down on a piece of paper. We've shared lots of whiteboard stuff and lots of stuff on screen, but they have not written to us to make us an offer on pay, the conditions that they want to change, modernisation. They've not written that down for us to consider, and there's nothing on job security.
Is your biggest problem the terms and conditions of people's working lives, or is your problem that you think that the workers deserve pay rise?
Well, the biggest problem is job security, because they're threatening thousands of job cuts. We don't know the numbers, they won't even tell us that. Then our members want to preserve their conditions, which are vitally important in a 24/7 operation, shift work and all the rest of it. And then on top of that, we would like a pay rise. We haven't had a pay deal for 3 years, and there's no sign of one coming.
What would you settle for? I mean, all these disputes always end with a compromise. We know that in the end this will end and there will be a compromise. I know you're not going to answer the question, but just give us a hint.
And just so that viewers can understand, the Office of National Statistics estimates the average salary of rail workers is almost £46,000 based on 5 different job categories. If you take drivers out of that, the estimate is £39,500.
Well, those are medians, which are not averages, by the way. And the majority of our members in this dispute are under less than 32,000. That is something that the train operators have shared with us on a whiteboard. What we're looking for is a job security agreement so that our members know if they want to continue in the railway, they've got a job. That's the top priority.
Okay.
After that are the conditions that they work under, and after that, we'll look for a pay rise. We're seeking something that addresses the cost of living like everyone else. Our members are suffering from the same cost of living crisis as all the other workers.
And do you think that package that you've just gone through, do you think that was actually written down and ready to go?
I've seen the draft. The only thing I haven't seen is a pay offer.
You haven't seen the thing?
I've seen what they want to propose to us.
Are we happy with it?
But no, because we have to negotiate on it. You have to
Was it the
start.
basis of, okay, but was it the basis of a negotiation?
It's the basis for a structure for a deal. So we need to know what the employers want. They have to say, we want you to make these changes, and we have to deal with that. They've not been able to do that because the government will not let them write it
So what's
down.
going to happen? What's going to happen next?
Well, I'm seeing the Secretary of State tomorrow morning, and I will tell him, you need to be a facilitator rather than an obstructor. So he needs to create that mood and give these employers a mandate to get a deal. Those employers know what they need to do. We've known each other for a very long time in the industry and have done multiple deals over many years. The difference now is that the government is interfering and stopping it. They can come to the table if they wish, or give a mandate that's constructive and positive. If you're going to block it, you should get out of the way and let the employers do it.
You have said that you're not the Grinch who's stealing Christmas. Your issue is with the Transport Secretary, right, who you've just, on this programme, called a liar. I mean, good luck with that meeting tomorrow morning. The fact of the matter is, it is train passengers who are going to pay the price. In the run-up to Christmas, they might have full sympathy with what your workers want. They might not think that the salaries and the job security and all the rest of it are good enough. There are going to be passengers earning a lot less who are going to not be able to get to work because of the train strike or not get home to see their families. The way that you have organised this strike, it's going to be the 13th and the 14th of December and then the 16th and the 17th of December. Well, you might as well have called a 5-day strike because you've effectively disabled the rail network for that time. And then after the new year, when people are trying to go back home after being with their families or get back to work, you've got the 3rd and 4th of January and the 6th and 7th of January. And again, you might as well have included the 5th in there as well. 2 5-day strikes at the most sensitive time of the year. How are you not the Grinch?
Every day is sensitive. There's no good time to have a strike. We've deliberately left the Christmas period.
Oh, come on, you've done it deliberately in the run-up to Christmas and afterwards.
You asked me a question about Christmas. We have left the Christmas period strike-free, deliberately. We cannot leave this action to go cold. We've not been on strike for 2 months. We moved other dates to facilitate important public and national events. If we just leave it, they'll impose the changes. Network Rail have already issued a statutory redundancy notice for 3,000 jobs, and they will impose that if we do not resist what they're doing and come to a compromise.
But how do you explain to a nurse, for instance, who's on nothing like one of your workers' salaries, who has to get on a train or wants to...
Nurses on average are on the same average as railway workers.
You earn a lot more than the average nurse. You earn a lot more than the average rail worker. So that, that's not...
I do, personally, yes. But railway workers, some of the people in this dispute are on £18,000 a year.
But the people who are travelling on the trains, you would acknowledge, you've already said you're trying to design these strikes so that they don't specifically target Christmas and that you haven't been on strike for 2 months. You know how much this impacts real working people who are trying to do their job.
We need to pursue an industrial dispute that gets us a resolution. The government is in a position to settle that in a matter of hours or days, and they won't do it. There are many workers around this country who are also looking for the RMT to get a result in this so that they can follow their example. That includes nurses, and I'm in touch with the Royal College of Nursing. It includes the British Medical Association. It includes millions of workers around this country who are being made to suffer while the rich are getting richer, Dividends are being paid
let's
out,
tell it like it
profits
is,
are being
Mr. Lynch.
maintained,
Mr. Lynch,
and the redistribution of wealth is not being addressed.
Mr. Lynch, let's just tell it like it is. It doesn't really matter to you what the British public thinks about this. It has no bearing on your ability to...
does.
Well, in what way? Because you're disrupting them enormously at Christmas, and you clearly, at bottom, you can't afford to care what they think, otherwise that would stay your hand in terms
Well,
of...
we're not cynical people. Our members live in these communities. They're ordinary working men and women. They don't get paid when they're on strike, and they make a sacrifice in order to defend their terms and conditions. Across this economy, people have had their terms and conditions, including in this studio, ripped to pieces and are on precarious work values, right? They don't get contracts of employment, they don't get holiday pay, they don't get sick pay, they don't get loads of other benefits that you used to get because they're all being made to work on casual employment basis.
All right.
That's what's happening in this economy, and that's what we're defending. And most workers in this country want to see a restoration of that job security and decent terms and conditions.
Well, I wonder when we'll meet you again, and what
see.
we'll be talking about next time.
Hopefully something more pleasant.
Okay, well, good luck with that meeting tomorrow with the man you say is lying to you and lying to the country. As Susanna says, that'll be an interesting face-to-face. Thank you.
Just before you go, I know you're a big football fan, and the big story today is about a multi-billion-pound football club and their star player who's on £500,000 a week. As you're negotiating and dealing with, rail workers in the run-up to Christmas, what do you make of that? The complaints by Cristiano Ronaldo that he wasn't treated properly by his employers?
Well, I think he's probably not employed by them. I'm sure he's got his own tax affairs and limited company set up, so that's not the case. People in that position do not pay tax generally.
I'm not asking about his taxes, I'm asking about his employment. Let's not go down that route.
What I don't like, as with many football fans, is the marketisation and commercialisation of football. Football clubs used to be owned by the local people in the town, businessmen, butchers and bakers and all the rest of it. And it was more affordable and it was a people's game. It's becoming more and more business-based, oligarch-based setup, and I find that distasteful. I supported Chelsea, I didn't like the Abramovich era, I don't like the Glazers, and I don't like all the people that have come into football. It needs to go back to the community with realistic wages based on what we can afford.
My goodness, that would change the game, wouldn't it? Right, Mick Lynch, good to see you this morning. Thanks very much indeed.